added the language that some people are using, which is shelter in place. Shelter in place is often used as a term when there's an active shooter situation, or when I was young, we used to talk about it in terms of fearing a nuclear attack or something like that. And that is a word that I think, shelter in place, I think, is a phrase that really can engender fear. This is not something we need to be afraid of if we act. If we act. We have the power to control this, we as a community. There is no need to fear this virus if we act. And the way we can act together is to stay at home. This is a stay-at-home order, and we need not fear it. We need to act collectively as a community to do this work. A lot of times we think about trying to help people by coming together in one place, giving a hug, to offer love or affection or condolence or all the things that touch can bring to us. We have to offer another kind of kindness now, and that is the kindness of distance. And in many ways it's harder, but it is something that we have to do together. Before I talk about the specifics of the order, I want to also talk for just a moment about a couple of other things. One is the governor's work so far on this. I am so appreciative of the strong and steady leadership that Governor Cooper has given throughout this crisis. He has taken very important actions, and they have been steady and they have been solid, and I have so appreciated the tone he has set and the fact that our state is out ahead of so many other states in the way we're dealing with this virus. I am hopeful that the governor will issue a statewide stay-in-place order, rather stay-at-home order, that he will issue a statewide stay-at-home order in the near future. I understand that his challenges are different than ours. He's the governor of a state that is, some counties have no cases, and I understand the dilemma that he feels he is in. But we are going to take this action here in Durham because we know it is right for our community, where we already have 74 cases. I want to also mention that we have the strong support of County Commission Chair Wendy Jacobs. The county commissioners are moving forward towards their own order for Durham County. They are working towards that, and I think we will be seeing that in the next few days. And I really appreciate hearing from Chair Jacobs and strong support that the county has for this stay-at-home order today. I've also been in communication over the past few days with mayors of the other large cities in our state. And in the next, you will see, Mecklenburg was yesterday, Durham is today, you will see some other orders from other cities today, and you will see around the state a flurry of these orders from our larger cities and counties, these stay-at-home orders, because our cities are all experiencing the exact same crisis. So I've been in touch, very close touch with Mary Ann Baldwin in Raleigh, with Nancy Vaughn in Greensboro, with Pam Hanger.
You stay in Greensboro?
Lydia Lavelle in Chapel
You stay
Hill,
in Greensboro?
with Esther Manheimer in Asheville, with Alan Joyce in Winston-Salem, with Vi Lyles in Charlotte.
So they've been communicating with them.
And other mayors around the state, and we are of one mind. So let me talk through now this. Let me hit the most important points here in our
I see the timing.
stay-at-home order.
They said gym closed. Why they still having the gym open?
With talking about
You see
what
that?
this order
People
does,
don't
and I'm
listen.
going to read one part of it because I think this is very important. Stay at home. Except as allowed in this order, all individuals in the city of Durham are prohibited from 1, being or traveling upon any street, alley, or roadway, or upon public property, or 2, participating or carrying on any business activity or keeping open places of business or entertainment and any other place of public assembly. That's the heart of this. Stay at home. And then the order goes on to talk about various prohibited activities as well as exceptions or exemptions. And I'm going to go through some of those exemptions because they're very important. The purpose of this order is to be able to do two things at the same time. A stay-at-home order is to ensure that the maximum number of people self-isolate in their places of residence to the maximum extent feasible, while enabling essential services to continue to slow the spread of COVID-19 to the maximum extent possible. We want to and need to be able to do both of those things. We know that we have individuals experiencing homelessness, and we address this as part of the stay-at-home order. And they have no home to go to. So we are making lots of efforts, and the order speaks briefly to this. But we are strongly urging these homeless folks to obtain shelter, and governmental and other entities are strongly urged to make such shelter available as soon as possible and to the maximum extent practicable. We have in our emergency operations center now, we have a group dedicated to supporting our homeless residents.
They talk about they can't open no business, no go buying anything for personal, for business. If they catch anybody on it,
that's what I'm saying. It's serious. It's some serious
so that
fines.
means we need to buy more food.
But need to be
But if
isolated.
those people didn't buy enough
And
food
have no home to isolate
in Durham, what they gonna do?
Exactly.
Or maybe have taken the test.
So people sometimes I don't think they're really going crazy, but they someone just buy too much. I don't need to get.
Get the test results back.
No, I need to go buy more food because what if they do the same thing here?
Communities have done to do
Oh
that.
God, no
This
more
is crazy.
spending.
Yeah. Millie.
This
This is I spent almost $1,000 within 2 weeks.
I know you have. That's a lot of money.
prohibits
Because the stuff that left there when I went, because I wasn't taking it that because everybody was going crazy. I wasn't really looking at it that way.
Well, they're limited to what you can get now.
except for
And now they
limited
put the
purposes,
prices up.
which are explained in this order. Let me just say
So I just have
that
to buy what I see there.
That's it. That's all you can do, baby.
although this is up to 10 people, this is only with social distancing. If you and your friends, we had the recent
Stay away from
gathering
it.
at Carolina
Stay as far
Arbors
as
not
over
long
there.
ago. And at Carolina Arbors, the residents there all got on the street together, but they stayed 10 feet apart. What we're not endorsing is gatherings of people in a situation like that, you know, at the end of your cul-de-sac or on your street where people are close together. Up to 10 people, but socially distanced. Those are both critical. We're also prohibiting any contact sport, team sport, or other physical activity where social distancing cannot be maintained at all times. We have seen young people playing on our basketball courts, which I love playing basketball, and I played it till I was 50 years old, every time I had the chance. But we can't do it right now, and our young people have to understand that. Also, the order calls for all businesses and operations in this city, except for essential business operations, to cease all activities. And I'm going to talk about the essential business operations in a moment. And all places of amusement where people may gather, whether indoors or outdoors, also must cease activity. And most of these were already covered in the governor's order of yesterday. So what are the essential activities that are allowed under this order? And this is very important. First, any activity related to health and safety. Tasks essential to the health and safety.
They
of our
can't go to the
community.
park no more, they said.
So, for example, emergencies, people seeking emergency services, obtaining medical supplies or medication, visiting a healthcare professional. Another category is necessary supplies and services for people's households. So, for example, groceries, food, other critical
empty.
products for safety and sanitation in the
Oh
essential
my- look at
operation of
this.
people's residences. This is also
Look at the lines.
exempted. You could go out for those things. You can also go out for outdoor activity under this order. So this stay-at-home order does not prohibit certain outdoor activities. And let me talk about those outdoor activities.
Those are the images across the country, sweetie.
I believe that
Another
I still need to watch these when I go home. I just try not
man
to.
just sent me a picture maybe about a week ago. Their store is near
but people are allowed to go outside.
a BJ's or something, and he showed me the lion. And let me see if I can pull it back up.
I really know when I get out today, I'm seriously.
Hiking,
I don't care what I
running,
find in cans. I
biking,
really have to get a lot of
and
stuff
playing tennis.
because Durham is
So
not
we'll
too
talk
far
about the
from
last
here.
With golf
I mean, I
and playing
have stuff,
tennis,
but what if they
this
really
can only
shuts
be
down
done if there is social
the
distancing.
city?
Okay, so
I
this
am
is a con,
concerned about
right?
this. We are in the order
Look at the line.
prohibiting driving ranges.
They're trying to go into
and
Sam's,
we're,
but they're passing right by Con.
continuing to allow golf
Okay.
and tennis, but only if there's social
That's the line.
distancing. And we will be closely monitoring this, and
So,
if we
yes, ma'am.
find that this
The line.
social distancing cannot be maintained by people
People
who
gonna
are golfing
starve.
or playing tennis, then we will come
Okay,
back
I'm
at
keeping
future
an eye
time
out. Okay.
to put those activities within the order.
You heard that,
Taking
Brian?
care of others is also something for which you can go outside.
Durham is shut down. The city
To
of
care
Durham
for
is
a
shut
family
down.
member, a friend, or a pet in another household.
It's done. It's an
when
order.
critically
Nobody is
necessary,
completely zoned out.
it's okay
Durham
to
is
be
shut
outside for
down.
that.
The city of Durham completely.
We have in the
He
order
was crying
limitations on
before he started talking.
business operations,
Yes, he was really crying.
which I mentioned
That's how
earlier,
serious it
except
is.
for essential business
Before he started talking, he was
operations.
crying,
And let me
wiping
talk
his
to you about
tears.
what they are.
Durham is completely
First
shut
of all,
down.
working
Nobody
from
cannot
home.
be outside. No
Businesses may
stores, no.
continue any
They don't care what it is. They gotta go to the
consisting
store for person.
exclusively of
Everything is
employees
shut
or
completely down.
contractors working at home.
And Durham is not too far from
Second,
here.
essential businesses and operations. And these are activities that are essential, that are not prohibited from operating and encouraged to operate. There's a list of those here, and let me talk about that list because this is very important. First of all, there's this what is called the CISA list, and that is the list provided by the Department of Homeland Security,
Ooh,
which defines essential businesses for our Homeland Security, cybersecurity infrastructure that is so critical to our country. And these are essential services. For example, our electrical grid is a critical service and critical infrastructure that's covered under the CISA regulations. And these will not be prohibited. They are exempted from this order. Second is businesses that sell, produce, or distribute groceries, medicine, or essential household goods. They are also exempted from this order. Human services operation. So for purpose of this order, individuals can leave their residence to work for a human services operation or to obtain the services of human services operation that cannot be accessed remotely. And the order goes on to say, before leaving home to obtain such human services, individuals in need should first seek to access these services by telephone or through digital or other online access. And all human services operations are strongly urged to make such services available by telephone, online, and or digital access as a first option for clients. And as you read the order, you will see that there's a theme here for human services, for financial services, for especially for healthcare services.
this is the
We
time
are
they should give
asking
out food to the people to
individuals
buy
first,
stuff
before
since they're
you
gonna lock
access these
everything
services
down.
in person, if you have a critical need, to access them first by telephone or through digital means. And we are asking all the organizations that provide those services to provide that sort of distance access. It's critically important. Also exempted from the order is healthcare and public health operations. And again, I want to emphasize, before leaving home to obtain access to healthcare and other public health services, individuals in need should first seek to access these services by telephone or through digital or online access. Also exempted, as you reporters will be happy to hear, exempted from this order is media and First Amendment protected speech, which includes our press. We have also put up we've also made sure that we put into this provision, in terms of First Amendment protected speech, that expressly permitted are services, counseling, pastoral care, and other activities provided by religious organizations to the members of their faith community where such services can be made available by telephone, online, and digital. And I'm going to have a special message for our pastors at the end of my talk today. Exempted from the order also are gas stations and businesses needed for transportation.
Gee.
And then
Oh, God, my head hurts.
Banks, insurance companies, and financial services and institutions where such services
sorry,
cannot
y'all.
be provided online or digitally. These banks and financial institutions can be in business, but they only can operate critical services that are important at this time.
The people who sell pills and prescription and all that stuff, they only allow them to really open, and they gotta go by a phone call first, and they have to have a proof to really go out there to go to the store if they're working in it. It's a lot. Like people who sell the drugs and stuff when it comes to the health, they have to go by a phone. They have to make phone calls, go online, and they have to have proof that they actually work there. They're going up to the health. It's a lot of stuff they got to go through just to get to their workplace. If they have to be open.
The mail, the post, shipping, logistics, and delivery, pickup services, your postal service will still be operating. For educational institutions, here's what the order says. We are following the guidance that
Yes, they still do it.
Okay. And they had
6 o'clock.
They had to go to work. They had to have their work schedule.
we're following guidance that we've received on this.
Somebody always have to be in the car with them at a certain time if it passed. Yeah, they still have that.
Universities, for purposes of facilitating distance learning, performing critical research, or performing essential functions, provided that social distancing of 6 feet per person is maintained to the extent
6 feet.
possible.
Oh, yeah, they've been
So,
said
our
And these people walking and want to just keep walking close to me. You know, if I try to sit there, start crossing them.
laundry services.
And the little boy keep pulling over me.
that.
Can I get candy?
Waving at me, I was like, oh, not today.
Can I get candy? I didn't want to be rude. And
Services and suppliers of essential businesses, such as the one listed that are providing them essential services, can also remain open. Transportation, airlines, taxis, transportation network providers, and other private and public and commercial transportation and the logistics providers necessary for essential activities are also exempted from the order. For home-based care and services, we know that some of our elders and other residents of our community are at home and need critical home-based care. They cannot leave their home for that care, and people have to enter their homes to provide that care, and they are also exempted from the order. Residential facilities or shelters are exempted from the order for adults, seniors, disabled persons, for substance abuse and mental illness, and so forth. Professional services, which are needed at this critical time, are exempted from the order. This does not include any old professional service. If you are offering professional services, only services that are critical at this time can be offered. And I again urge people who are accessing professional services, whether they be legal, accounting, notary services, and so forth, to only access them if they are critical to you.
Shush.
For real estate services,
If a person never buy nothing yet for food, they'll again.
restricted by this
And if they don't have a time
to
frame,
only
by the time it
appraisal
started,
and title
they
services.
better get out
Only
now.
appraisal and title services
People gonna go crazy
are
in the
allowed
street
under
right
the
now.
order. For child care facilities, they are exempt
Fight.
under this order.
Watch people start fighting just to grab this and drop to
For
get
those
that.
provide services
Because they have a
to
time
first
frame
responders,
to be shut
healthcare
down.
workers, public health.
Didn't I say that this morning,
HHS and
watch
others
this week is
who
gonna
are
get
responding
worse?
to COVID-19. Hotels and motels will still continue to be able to operate, but can have only delivery or carry out food services in terms of what they offer in terms of food. And funeral services, of course, are also allowed to operate.
2 o'clock.
Also allowed to operate are outdoor businesses or services. For some businesses and services that operate primarily outdoors or in structures under construction. So construction work, related contractors, lawn maintenance, and so forth can operate as long as people maintain social distancing for those buildings that are under construction or outside.
Oh, so the people who are already working on this stuff, they
The
have
order
to.
also allows alternate offerings of non-essential goods and services. So in other words, any business that provides goods and services may continue to operate.
You're not allowed to play basketball, so why are you allowed to play tennis?
Delivery,
I don't get it.
mail order, or virtual web service.
That's what they said. You're not allowed to play
I'll give you an
basketball.
example.
You understand that the young kids want to go and play basketball the way they're not allowed. So what's wrong with tennis? It's for the...
Pick it up. But this prohibits
I'm not even going to say
I
it.
love the regular bookstore and I want to go pick my book up. But they can mail the book to me, and that will be acceptable. Also, exempt under the order are minimum basic operations for all businesses. And this includes minimum activity needed to maintain the value of the business inventory, ensure security, process payroll benefits, or other related functions. If one person from your business needs to go into the business that day and make sure everyone gets paid, that's acceptable. Minimum business
You only could go in your business to make sure the people them get paid.
to keep the business going. Minimum activity to perform any function permitted by this order, or minimum activity needed to facilitate employees working from home. We know that sometimes someone has to be in the office to make sure all the other employees are able to work from home, and that is acceptable. Also, of course, essential government services are prohibited. Are exempted. Essential government services are exempted from the order. You see today in City Hall is almost empty today. And that's because there are not many essential services that people have to actually be here for. There are essential services where people are outside picking up your solid waste and other services outside. There are very few services where people have to be here at City Hall. But those essential services are allowed both for public schools, for housing authorities, and transportation authorities.